Hi, good morning, 9 a.m.ers. I am very impressed. Thank you for showing up for this. I'm very excited. Okay, so Mary Ellen, we have so many things to talk about YouTube, what's going on. You're kind of driving the ecosystem right now. But Brittany, last night, you met Oprah.
I did actually go ahead and meet Oprah.
Okay, details, please.
Okay, so blacked out. But when I did kind of come to, her hand was on my shoulder, and it was very intimate.
How did it feel?
She touched you?
She touched me. Wow. She touched me. And I said something like, "You're in the Beyonce family," because I love Beyonce. And she was like, "Yes, I am." Anyway, I was like, sorry. But I just said something like, you know, obviously that's Oprah. And there's so much that stems from that. Like, obviously, I think I just said to her, like, there is no room for women because they haven't left room for women in traditional late night.
No.
So it's this thing of like, if you don't see it, you make it. And
yes.
Not to gas YouTube, but I will. It's only on a place like that where you have the freedom. You don't have any red tape. Like I was like, I don't see this. I want to make it. And I made it. And she was like, that's what I'm talking about. I was like, I love you, Oprah. Goodbye. It was awesome.
She'd seen the show.
I can't assume that, but if that's true, that's major.
She knew who you were.
She knew who I was.
Do you think she might show up?
Where?
Could you see her in royal garb?
Oh, I would love to put Oprah in a robe.
Could you imagine?
Elf ears.
Elf ears?
Yes, we got to make that happen.
I agree.
All right. Well, okay, that's a great anecdote that leads into, so Mary Ellen, YouTube, the anchor covers entertainment, right? And the business of entertainment. And, YouTube is on everybody's mind at all times. And
it's a good thing.
Yeah. And so, I want to ask you, for starters, last year when YouTube showed up and Neil Mohan was here, and it was kind of like the year of the creator, and it felt like a definite pivot moment. What's the vibe this year? It feels like it's gone completely mainstream.
The year of the filmmaker.
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah. First of all, the creators, I think creators are the whole story this year. Yeah. So, and Brittany, and we've had several other creators with huge fandoms, all over the beach this week. And one of the things we've loved to talk about is the new obsessions, backrooms, incredible success of young filmmakers on the platform, there to tell their stories. And then that translates to box office attendance, incredible success. And so the way I look at it, it's storytellers of all types.
That the timing of that teed up really nicely for your Cannes Lion.
Yeah,
right?
We didn't plan that. That was just all organic.
Well, I think, Brittany, I'd love to ask you, I think for, Mary Ellen, YouTube for you, I think the common media narrative is like, oh my God, they came out of nowhere, and who would have thought? And but I think there's a connection with the audience that you cultivate as a creator. Can you just talk a little bit about what that obsession is like to be so attuned to your audience?
Yeah, I think I don't have a platform without an audience. I come from the era of the internet and the side corner of the internet where it's fangirl central, right. And I grew up on Tumblr, on Twitter, on YouTube, watching things that were so, I knew the birth times of all the One Direction members. I knew what hospital they were born in. It's to a level that's, medical. And taking that kind of background into your young 20s, then your late 20s is your fangirlness kind of evolves. And I think that I just started posting content organically, talking about the things that I love.
Right.
And a lot of that translates into celebrity culture and, Hollywood and whatever. And I guess my approach to it was very relatable. And so from that, I kind of was like, there needs to be fangirls interviewing these people.
Right.
Because I know what I would ask Harry Styles, and none of these interviewers are asking what I want to know. So how do you kind of take that, apply it to your creative process, and then do it? And it's been a very slow evolution of, we filmed the first episode of Royal Court in the spare bedroom of my house. Mm-hmm. Now I run a full-fledged studio in Burbank. It is you would think it's exponential, but every step along the way was earned and you learn a lot. So yeah, it was a very gradual
Well,
thing.
Mary Ellen, I'm curious what you think from where you sit. Like we're seeing now, like, Brittany used to know, she still does, Harry Styles' birth time and what hospital. And then
Now she knows Harry Styles.
and now she knows it's a
And that's
it's
scary.
it's a press stop. It's a must stop press stop for the hugest stars in the world. So explain how that's felt to watch that.
Well, and she's up for Emmy consideration, which is,
Oh, stop.
I think that, well, it speaks to the legitimacy, right? There historically was this whole conversation about, is this real entertainment? Is this quality entertainment?
Yeah.
And I think that's not even a conversation anymore. Not only is this Emmy quality entertainment, films are launching on the platform.
Yes.
So I think really, and Brittany articulated it so well, it's what the audience is most interested in, and they're defining the quality. And this is the future of entertainment.
Yeah, I mean, when I knew I was talking to you, Brittany, I was thinking about that photo for Stephen Colbert's last episode when all of the 5 late night hosts came out in their suits and ties, and I'm like, this is, there's so much discussion about late night is no longer late night is now
It's the end of an era
on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
So
Okay. True fact, ran into Seth Meyer in a restaurant here, and he came up and gave me a hug. Lovely guy. I have never met him
Yes,
before.
he's the best.
And he said, I have more watch time on YouTube than I do on my main channel. Yeah. So it's, everyone knows.
Yes.
Yes.
So Mary Ellen, I want to ask you, in Hollywood right now, like, there's YouTube leads the living room like that. I think there was, people could have fought about it 2 years ago, but now it's just so far ahead, right? And so now there's something underway where, YouTube's going more premium, right? Or the perception is now caught up, right? And then, but all the other streamers, including Netflix, are trying to go more YouTube. And that means doing deals with creators, doing deals with Jay Shetty, their big podcast announcements. So tell me how has this changed anything in the way you are approaching how YouTube operates?
Yeah, we've noticed. Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. I spend a lot of time talking to creators about this, and we ask about, what is it that you're interested in looking for? Because ultimately, we want YouTube to be the home of creators' most ambitious projects of all types. And what they consistently tell us is that YouTube is their home. And they know that they build an incredible audience, unrivaled audience in terms of scale and scope around the world globally. And the relationship we have, the connection with their fans, that direct connection, when Brittany tells you she can hear directly from her fans what they love about her content, what they want to see next, that's a different type of engagement that you don't get on a one-way platform. So we feel really confident that YouTube plays a special and unique role. And, we also know that they run businesses. And if they need opportunity to find additional audiences, we're very supportive of that.
Well, Brittany, I'm curious, the hierarchy or the, climbing the ladder used to be maybe creator into Hollywood, right? And do you want to be Hollywood? Do you want to go that path? Because when I watch your show, that I could never imagine that being in a pitch room. And tell me about how you think about that.
Well, I don't think it's a question of it is Hollywood. This is the new Hollywood. And it's been that way for a while. And I feel like, the industry is finally catching up. And, all of us creators, and I feel like the YouTube team is we've kind of known it because of the freedom, because of the direct line to consumer. I mean, it's like think exactly what you just said. How many projects have been, cut down or said no or passed on when it was a gold nugget? And so now it's the opportunity of like, well, then I'll just make it myself.
Right.
And you start to reinvest in yourself. Like the money that you make from that goes directly into the project
Well,
again.
tell us about your business. I mean, you have you're a real business now, a big business. So
I'm incorporated. It's a lot of taxes. I have a full crew. I have, every time we show up to set, I have manager, tons of agents, business manager. My publicist is also my booking agent, so we keep that in-house, which is nice. I have a crew of about 11 people. I have production assistants. We have a green room. We have, a kitchenette. We're really doing it.
A kitchenette.
A kitchenette.
Wow.
That's major.
Okay.
We have a coffee maker.
We got a coffee. We got an espresso. How about that?
Wow.
So it's fully.
She is premium.
Only the best. So it's gradual. We had a ex-Imagineer design our set, so it's really, really neat to see it keep getting bigger and better every year.
But I also want to, because I saw you speak in Los Angeles at a YouTube event,
Yes.
and I think this idea that these shows are off the cuff, these are. To make it what it is very planned and very researched.
Absolutely. I have a team of writers. I have producers. We are outgoing to production, movie studios and, other streaming platforms of when projects release. We time it with the cadence of that release so that they're happy, we're happy. And also, we want to have guests that are in the zeitgeist, that are
Right.
popular and people want to see. I also, back to the point of audience engagement, I really, really take it serious who I say yes to, who we go out to, who is
interesting.
incoming.
Okay, who will you not say yes to? You don't need to name names, but the kind of person.
There is a kind. I say no to conservative leaning people.
Okay.
And that is, I'll,
And do they
stand
want to
on
come
that.
on your show?
Yeah, of course they do.
Okay.
And I say no because ultimately I'm a woman on the internet.
Yeah.
We're talking about the new age of Hollywood and all that is true, but women are still held to a different standard,
Absolutely.
a much higher standard. And ultimately, whoever I have sitting next to me on the throne, I assume all of their sins. And that's something
Right.
that I feel like the internet really needs to, there's no nuance. So that's a real thing that we consider when we're thinking about a guest, like what controversies have they had? Will my audience be mad at me for having them sit on that throne?
That's a really important point.
It's important, and the way that we gauge that is through the comment section.
Right.
So, and they'll tell you. They'll tell you.
Yeah,
They don't
your
like the
fan
guest.
base is called, is it Brittany Nation or Broski?
Broski Nation.
Okay.
Broski Nation.
Very nice. Yeah, so Mary Ellen, I want to ask, well, maybe for both of you, I think probably one of the buzzwords of the week is fandoms. Everyone is obsessed with fandoms. Are we talking about those correctly? What do we... what are people getting, advertisers, what are they getting right and wrong when they're thinking about fandoms?
I want to support one thing that Brittany said, which I think is a really unique aspect about creators on YouTube. So she shared how much of a staff she has. She's running a really big business.
Yeah.
The difference between what she's doing and someone backed by a studio is she's putting all that capital up herself. The
Right.
entrepreneurship, the level of risk that she's taking, and this is all YouTubers, they're making a bet. They're making a bet on themselves, and it's incredibly unique. She's put herself out there. So the level of innovation, entrepreneurship,
Yeah.
I think it's at a level that we're not seeing broadly, and I think that's part of what's driving the success. Your point about fandom, one of the things I've been having the conversation all week with marketers and brands. Ultimately, you want an engaged audience. You want a trusted relationship. You want someone to say, wow, I understand about what your product or service is, and it's relevant to me. And what a more powerful way than to have Brittany, who just told you she won't have a guest who doesn't share her values, to say, this is a brand that I'm endorsing, that I care deeply about. And her fans know that. They know she's not going to serve them up something that she doesn't endorse.
Yeah, like a cash grab. They really see through that. you know?
What is the line for you for your audience? What would be something where they, They're like, no. Like when a brand integration crosses the line.
You know, there are certain categories of brands that I refuse to interact with: gambling, weight loss,
Yeah.
those kind of things that target vulnerable people. I refuse. And it's the same for brands. Whoever I have sitting next to me, whoever I have sponsoring me, I'm responsible for everything they've ever said or done wrong. So I have to be picky, and the partnerships that I say yes to have to align with my kind of silly, whimsical, positive outlook, you know? And if I say yes to being sponsored by like some nasty gambling company, they're going to be like, what is this? I'm supposed to believe that Brittany Broski's at the slot machines, you know, like it's not a match. So it has to be a brand match and a personality match.
Okay, nice. And then, I want to be able to talk about the Emmys. And I mean, you were in an Emmy campaign for Royal Court.
It was amazing.
It was cool. It was really
on the big stage.
And, I'd love, I will say that, Ted Sarandos is from the co-CEO of Netflix. He's called YouTube once.
What's his name?
Yeah, I think it's Sarandos. And so, he called YouTube the farm team and so I mean there is
tell Johnny Harris and Jorge Ramos that.
I know. So there's a lot of sort of cultural significance to being in an Emmy campaign and maybe getting nominated. So can you just talk about why you're pursuing this? Why is it important?
Well, let me start to blow her up, because she's ultimately the one up for consideration. There is this idea that, content and creativity on YouTube historically wasn't at the same quality as you said, Farm Team. And a lot of times creators will go out and the interviewer will say, well, why does this matter to you? Why does that legitimacy matter? And ultimately it shouldn't matter how I'm putting my content out in the world. The quality, clearly the audience is voting. We don't greenlight. Just as Whitney said, right? We're not.
Have you ever given a note to a creator?
Have given a note?
Yeah.
In terms of
a creative note, like that studios do and streamers.
No, we don't. We say, way to go. Because
they know better.
We do know better. I mean, ultimately the algorithm knows how to connect fans with the content they love. And so I think it's really important that we support our creators to help break down those industry barriers, because it's an industry perception that is not how people across the world feel, and ultimately they're voting with their viewership. But you should talk about your perspectives.
Well, I completely agree. And I do think it's the industry catching up to what fan bases already know, what viewers already know, which is when I get home after a long day of work, I'm putting on my favorite YouTuber because they make me feel comforted. They make me feel happy, and or it's interesting. There's, in a world of oversaturated content and media, anything you could ever want to watch is available. I think there's a power in it being free. That's another thing that I'm always like, I choose to upload on YouTube because of the freedom it provides, the connection it provides, but also there's no barrier to entry. Anyone can click on my video versus subscribing to something that is behind a paywall.
A lot of your fans are probably, young teenagers.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah.
So I think in connection with the Emmy conversation, it is just, something that we all already know kind of on this side of it of of course this is serious. Of course we're treating this like it is a network program.
Right.
And we just happen to be running it ourselves, and
owning it.
And owning it. That's the most beautiful part is we own the IP. I'm not beholden to anyone.
Right.
So, and I get to say yes to who sponsors me, who whatever. So I think that it's just about time that recognition is here. And it's incredible to be alongside things like Hot Ones. And, it's just insane.
Where are you going to put your Emmy when you potentially get one?
The funny answer is above the toilet, but it'll probably be,
in the kitchen by your coffee maker.
By my Nespresso in the office, ultimately.
Okay, obviously. Okay, so in our final moments here, I would love for you both to finish this sentence. The future of entertainment belongs to people who understand blank.
how to connect and entertain their audience.
Okay.
I would say it belongs to people who understand fan bases. The power of fandom is never to be underestimated.
Okay. As we've seen when you're just walking out here, and you will get inundated momentarily. All right. Brittany, Mary Ellen, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you
Okay.
so much, Janice.